Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back, Attack. I'm Skyline Shore, and today we're going to go back. We kind of used to do this, and now we're going back, and we're starting to do these new updates. Like, if the game has a new character, we're going to go and check out that new character. So, you know, if there's anything that you'll want to see, like a game that's new, and it, you know, comes out with, like, incremental updates with new characters, let us know in the comments below. Maybe we'll get to it and do it. But Dota 2 just recently had a pretty big update, so we're going to go and explore that. We're not going to go explore the whole freaking update. It is so big, so in-depth, there's just no way, man. It's like so big, and it's honestly just so complex that I'm not qualified to really talk about it, but Dota 2 has this huge update. It honestly is constantly updating and evolving, but recently there was a pretty big update, added new items, added a new character, but specifically we're going to be talking about that new character. Okay, good introductions over. Let's talk about Zet. Zet is the new character here for Dota 2. He plays pretty weird. You know, honestly, a lot of Dota 2 characters play very strange strategically. So this dude... Oh man, this dude. Okay, so his name in Dota 2 is Arc Warden, but his real name is Zet, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so Arc Warden is the new character. This guy has a pretty unique ultimate, in consideration to other MOBAs. In Dota 2, you know, not so much. We got lots of illusions and copy abilities, but what makes his unique is that he splits himself, and for like, I think 20 seconds, for a limited time, he can control this other copy of him. It's a perfect copy. It actually copies the items in his inventory, and they can be used. Whenever he's summoned, everything is off cooldown too. So it's really good to get Hand of Midas on this guy, because whenever you have your ultimate, basically it's like your Hand of Midas is off cooldown, and you can use it. So you can also use Mantis Style, you can use Necronomicon, you can use everything. Anything that's an activated thing, you can use it again, because it's going to be off cooldown instantaneously. So his ultimate is on a pretty low cooldown. It does actually cost health until you level it up to max, then it doesn't cost health anymore. So, you know, that kind of sucks leveling. But later on, you're definitely going to be using it to farm a lot, pretty much throughout the whole game. But later on, as you start getting items, you start to really begin to snowball with this guy. But early levels, it's not very fun, man, I have to say. He's just really... Okay, this is coming from a new player, though, of course. So, this is my very first game with him. Of course, I was going to suck, and I did suck, but at least it was a little bit playable. I honestly had a lot of trouble with the Winter Wyvern character previously. Dota 2 tends to have some things, some characters and abilities and items, honestly, that are very counterintuitive sometimes. They're just not easy to pick up and learn instantaneously, you know what I'm saying? They don't really have that game feel. They're not as mechanical as League of Legends. It's not as obvious. And so when you come into this game and you play as Arc Warden, yeah, just know that you should probably actually go and play a couple of bot matches with him, maybe, potentially. Watch some videos on this guy, look up some tutorials on how to play him, because he is really, really weird. Now, at first glance, looking at his abilities, I thought he would be played as a support, but apparently a lot of people played him mid and kind of had like the semi-carry thing going on. He is an agility hero, even though he looks very magey, and he does do a huge amount, like he does have a nuke, but it's all sorts of fucked up, man. It's really hard to get him in as a carry, even though, like, okay, in this game in particular, I actually went Mantis style. I kind of try to play him as like a carry, sort of, kind of. It was just really awkward and weird, especially if other people have, like, abilities to jump right on you, okay? They had a Spirit Breaker, they had a Phantom Assassin. It was so awkward, but let's talk about some of his abilities to counter that sort of engage, okay? So, if somebody jumps on you, you use your W. Your W is like an AoE field, so this is actually very supportive. And I can imagine him being played as support, honestly. So it creates a field, and this gives people increased attack speed. It also gives them evasion. So a lot of the times, whenever I would get ganked by like the Spirit Breaker or the Phantom Assassin, I was able to use my W and actually live long enough to do some serious damage in the team fight, or escape entirely, but sometimes it just delayed the inevitable, which is pretty much going to be the case for, like, everything. Everything about this guy, I felt like I was just delaying the inevitable. I was, like, if I'm caught out of place, yeah, I'm caught out of place. I don't have any leaps. I don't have anything to just disappear, to vanish. All in all, like, for this guy, you really need to, like, pre-plan everything. Everything needs to be very strategic with this guy. it's ridiculous. From your items, well, especially for his items. Now, a lot of Dota is about planning getting the items, but since this guy is so item dependent, not in the sense of like a carry, but because you have your ultimate, which also doubles every item, so you want to have like very interesting activated items so that you can make use of that, like Necronomicon or Manta style. Yeah, you gotta really plan out which items you need to buy to not just survive the laning phase, which was already not that great. It's really hard to last it with this guy, and it's also pretty hard to escape and live with this guy. But you also have to plan out for the end game and counter build and everything, and you gotta do that anyways, but doubly so for this guy because he literally doubles himself in those items. So basically, you just kind of want activated items, and even though his farming is pretty bad, once you get a Midas, if you can get a Midas, you know, probably you can get it on this guy as late as you want, because it is just that good on him. You're gonna be able to farm and keep up with anybody, regardless of how shut down you get. Well, okay, maybe almost, regardless. But overall, you know, the farming was super fun with him. Once I got a Manta style, I assume most people maybe would want Necronomicon and Dagon instead of trying to go carry, try to be a little bit more supporty, I guess. Whatever, he's an agility carry. I just wanted to try it, man. But he actually does a lot of damage with his abilities. So the issue though is that his nuke, I guess, yeah, his nuke, his E, this is a interesting ability. It's a mine, but it's very visible and very audible. However, so you summon like this Spark Wraith thing, and it just kind of sits there on the map, and you can actually do a lot of these, especially if you have your ultimate up. In your ultimate, you can just spam it while it's up and lay down a bunch of mines. This is a pretty strong ability. It's considered a nuke. The problem though is that there is a charge time. So you press E, you wait a couple of seconds, and then it comes up, and then whenever an enemy walks by it, it doesn't have to be a hero, it could be a minion, then it's actually going to chase that person all the way until it explodes, and then they're doomed. It does good damage, but it's just not that... It's interesting, but it's not as instantaneous. It's not as explosive and exciting as I would maybe like it. There's a couple of times in some team fights where I used my E ability, and it just didn't work fast enough to save my teammate or to kill that carry fast enough. So it was kind of disappointing, but you can do some pretty cool plays, apparently, with your E. I remember seeing a video where an Ember Spirit left his Remnant somewhere, and then the Arc Warden just put his E on the Ember Spirit Remnant, and whenever Ember... you know, teleported back to the Remnant, it just exploded him. That was cool, and I'm sure you can make some plays with this guy, but it's all about that planning, man. It's entirely about strategy. Like, there is really no... Okay, there is some mechanics. Okay, no, we should talk about this. Everything is kind of point and click. Everything is pretty easy, you know, there's no true skill shots or anything like that. The mechanics, though, and I'm gonna call it mechanics, is coming with, like, actually microing your ultimate, your copy of yourself, and using the items interchangeably, using the items and the abilities between your main character and also your copy. And I call this, it's true mechanics, because you have to just, like, your fingers are all over the keyboard, man. There's so many times where I have my second copy set to F2, so I can target my copy. I press F2, I use Q, W, E, and then I use, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I press everything, and then I gotta go back to my main character, so I press F1, and then I use all of my abilities, and then I switch back to him, because his cooldowns are... Like, seriously, whenever you use your ultimate, you are pressed for so much time, and you are just sitting there just doing so many things. But then whenever the ultimate's down, like, it's just, like, super boring, super basic gameplay. And, but still, even though, like, mechanically, without his ultimate, it's very boring, honestly, it's all about that strategy. It's all about thinking. Now, he is definitely way more interesting conceptually, and you are always thinking and doing so much. Well, you know, whenever your ultimate's up, you mechanically are doing a lot. He's definitely more exciting than characters like Doom, which is, like, super basic, you know, incredibly linear. You don't really got to think either, or plan too much. So Doom, let's say Doom is like the most basic of basic characters, other than the whole Devour thing, which is pretty cool. Arc Warden is more on the more complicated side, and that complicatedness is definitely tied into his ultimate. And just don't be surprised whenever you come to start using the ultimate. It's like, oh, his kit, yeah, I mean, it's basic. Okay, we got this. But then add in your ultimate, and that just doubles the complexity, okay? So take this guy, and you need to practice, not just practice leveling up to 6, and then be like, okay, I understand how to play. No, you need to play a full game of bots, which was my mistake. I should have actually have done that. Play full games with this guy to really understand his game flow. Because you don't really start playing Arc Warden until you're like level 6. Like, that's when you start playing the game. That's when things get real for Arc Warden. So that's all I have to say, man. Arc Warden, his graphics looks really awesome. I really do like how he looks, how he moves. It's kind of weird, though, for Zet. He's supposed to be like this all-powerful being. I know he's been kind of weakened, apparently, from his lore. But still, his voice is super powerful, booming. I really like his voice. It's really freaking awesome. But the way he looks is kind of like, I don't know, kind of froggish. He's got this like slouch, and he's got these like kind of bubbliness to him. But overall, his abilities and everything look really awesome. I love the sound effects. The sound effects for this guy, plus his voice, just everything kind of matches with him. And it's just really surprising. He has a lot of character to him, and I like it. I like him a lot. You never know what you're gonna get with these characters that come from Dota 1 to Dota 2. You never know what they're gonna look like. I didn't imagine him to look like this, but I'm actually kind of glad he does. I like the way he looks. It's pretty cool, and I freaking love the way he sounds. And I think we've only got like one more character from Dota 1 to go into Dota 2, and then from there it's going to be original characters. But look forward to our coverage on that. Hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoyed getting said gameplay, even though I totally lost this match because I suck. But thanks for watching anyways. I'm Skylent with Attack Gaming. Please come back, Attack. Like and subscribe to stay notified. We cover all sorts of multiplayer games. We let you know if they're good to go. And we'll see you again next time. Welcome back, Attack. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 free-to-play MMOs for this year, for 2015, and I think across all the genres for free-to-plays, we've seen so much innovation in MOBAs, in MMOs, in like card games. We've seen so many new things this past year, and hopefully, maybe, probably so, 2015 is going to be just as exciting. This is our